come downstairs. Still raining. Medium rain, but not forecast at all. Less than 10% chance of precipitation, said both the Met Office and the BBC. I've become an obsessive weather forecast stalker, checking about half a dozen times a day, almost hourly, because you really don't want it to rain on your fresh lime wash and wash your paint off. Not forecast. Slightly grumpy. So I've got a front door now, which is great. This nice stable door. That was reclaimed too from Proper Job, now splattered with lime wash, needs a bit of a wipe. And it will be painted blue, like the frame and the fascia boards, to match. I quite like it as wood, and a few people have been like, oh, why don't you just leave it as wood? But it does need refinishing anyway, so if I'm going to go to the effort of sanding it, I figured I will repaint it. But I'll leave it timber on the inside. It's a bit dark coming in here, apologise. And again, quite chaotic. I've got 2 more stacks of insulation down here. Those are, they're not Stoco, they're Pavertex, but it's basically the same as Stoco, wood fibre board. That's going to go on the underside of the roof, basically be the ceiling board. And I've got more Pavertex bats, so they're more flexible. That's wood fibre again. They go in between the rafters. Other stuff I've got in here, I've got some leftover plaster. I've got some tubs of lime wash, tool station, the Daleks. They're my rainwater harvesting tanks. They're slimline. They're I think they're 20 centimetres deep, but they're pretty big. I think they're 1.8 metres tall. They hold 250 litres of water each. I think I've got 6. Yeah, 6. That's because I have to have attenuation here because my rainwater goes into the sewer. There's nowhere else for it to go. And attenuation basically means you slow it down. So when it rains really, really heavily and fast, instead of it just gushing into the sewer and overloading the sewer, it's held in these tanks and then it's released slowly. By slowly, over 17 minutes apparently, for 1,000 litres of water attenuation. And I've had to spend £1,000 on a system to attenuate the water flow so that it goes over 17 minutes. But anyway. And then they've got lots of offcuts. It's my folding shave horse. Lots of offcuts of Stoco and wood and stuff that needs sorting. And slowly started kind of organising downstairs again before I had the house rendered outside. I had a nice tidy up, and that was started that just over 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago, and then it was just chaos for a month, and then we went away on holiday, and then I realised I'd really burned myself out and I needed a bit of a break. So October was a pretty quiet month, so I'm just kind of getting back into the flow and slowly getting organised. So I had some leftover bales, and I've donated some of those to Robin at Lifeworks for mulch and stuff. And that's a pile of 4x2 larch from Zav. That will be for stud walls once I get to that point. But yeah, I just want to have a tidy up down here, get all that insulation upstairs, and get the ground floor clear. And then we'll take up the subfloor. And yeah, it's joists just like the first floor. And just like the first floor, there's a subfloor on the top, but there's nothing underneath. So we're going to take up the floor, put some boarding down on the underside of the joists, insulate, do first fix, plumbing and electrics, bring the utilities in, put the subfloor back down. And once we've done that, we can start rendering inside and yeah, start putting partition walls and stuff in. But yeah, there's a lot to do, you know. Yeah, even just getting stuff upstairs is going to take probably a whole day. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe January? Start, that kind of thing. But I guess the next month or so, or 5 weeks before Christmas, mostly just be focusing on finishing the outside, that last bit of roof, and there's a bit of wall between, well, it's a bit hard to describe, but there's a bit of wall above the single story extension. It's like a half height external wall that needs finishing off, and there's a little bit of lead flashing to do and stuff. So yeah, I imagine it'll take probably the next month or 5 weeks or so to finish outside, and then I keep thinking all I want for Christmas is to take the scaffolding down. That's the goal. Get rid of the scaff by Christmas. And then we'll also look at getting the loo plumbed in inside. I don't actually know if you can see. This is the bathroom area here, and just behind in the centre next to that Dalek, that's the soil pipe. So that's where the loo's going. So if we can get the loo in, then I can get rid of the portaloo, and getting rid of the portaloo and the scaffolding's going to save me like £230 a month. So that would be great. And then we'll have a lot more space outside as well, because it kind of blocks like half of the front and be easier for deliveries. Got to get all the clay plaster delivered and that kind of thing. And easier for parking too. Got some bags of straw outside, which are for mulch. Some of those will go to the allotment. We had the allotment AGM this morning, so I just said, hey, if anyone needs bags of straw, I've got plenty of it. And a couple of bags, one over there and one here, which is, well, I don't really know how to describe it, but limey straw and dirt. Sounds lovely, doesn't it? But there was a lot of straw on the ground from where we'd strimmed the walls to prep them for the external plaster, which got really, dirty and wet and everything, i.e. not nice mulch, kind of mingy, rotting straw, and lime. Also dropped a lot of lime mortar on the floor when we were rendering, so I'm not quite sure what to do with those two dumpy bags. It'd be great if I had land, because, there's straw and soil and lime, and if you wanted a lime for your soil to change the pH, then it'd be really great, but unfortunately I don't have land. So I've got to figure out what to do with those two bags. I think it's probably just stopped raining enough that I can go outside again.